area, and obviously I work with Aktion Associates in the AES division. I have my Deltec Vantagepoint Master Certification. I also have a Vision Master certification as well, but I'm primarily Vantagepoint only, just because I'm more familiar with Vantagepoint than I am Vision. I was involved in every early adopter program since 3.5, and we are now doing 6.0 beta testing, which is insane. So very excited, and there was a lot of enhancements with dashboards in the 5.5 release. So I'm pretty excited to share with you some of those enhancements. Of course, this is not a what's new with 5.5 dashboards, but we will look at a lot of those enhancements. We're also going to look at a live demo. We'll do the role security, the save rights, the dash part bases that they came out with, new columns that they came out with, the drill 2 feature, and then we'll do a live demo where I might actually show you a sneak peek of some of my favorite dashboards. So first up is role security. Now there's two different things that they kind of enhance with 5.5. It is the save rights. That's where you're able to save for personal only. Before it was an all or nothing kind of setting. This setting does take away the ability to access the edit mode and or view different dashboards that are created. So if you are set to none, you don't have the edit button. But if you have personal only at the bare minimum, you can actually go in and pick and choose where you want your little dash parts to live on your own personal board, which is kind of nice. In the access rights, because of the personal dashboard setting that they gave us, we get to set which dash parts we want the role to have access to. This really limits what's in the dash part library for them. So it's a whole personal dashboard setting, but it changes 2 settings within the role security. So it's kind of neat. I do have a few screenshots of this, and we'll look at it in the live demo. In the save rights, you can see here the dashboards and dash parts setting in the role security has 3 options instead of just the save for all and none. It has the personal only. When you change that setting, you have to decide which parts in access rights that same role is going to have access to in their library. Now, the idea here is for admin to go in, create the dash part, then share it to the role. You can still share whole boards if you've set up the entire board for them already. You can share that board to the role, or you can just share the little part, or both. So whatever they want to do. Now in the save rights by role, you have the save for all roles and the personal only, kind of breaking that down a little bit. What's the difference between the two? Save for all roles, this is more for the admin folks. They can create new boards, they can create new parts, they can edit any existing board or edit any existing part. They have the full access to the entire dash part library, the full access to all boards and parts, obviously, and then they can import and export dash parts. For personal only, it's a little bit more restrictive because we don't want them to have access to absolutely everything, like save for all roles and the admin staff. Save for personal only, you cannot create new dash parts or boards. You can create your own board. You get to pick and choose the dash parts that have been shared to you. They're already set up dash parts. You don't get to change the columns or anything like that on the actual part. You cannot edit any existing board or part. You cannot edit any existing board that is not your personal board. So if admin has shared a dashboard to you, you can't change it, right? And then it also limits the dash part library. Like I said, in the role security, you're sharing that dash part that's already been set up to that role, and those are the only parts they get to use within the library. They don't get the full list in the library. And save for personal only can not import or export any dash parts. So little things, little differences. I kind of wish this slide had clarified it just a little bit more, but hopefully with the recording and the live demo, you'll be able to understand what is editable, what you can really create. So here's a couple screenshots of the save for all roles. this is two separate screenshots, really. The top one shows you all of the things that you can do, and you'll see at the very end it says import and export there. So save for all roles, they can do import and export. Also, when you're in the options area, you can see all dashboards, all personal dashboards, and my personal dashboards. The all personal dashboards is what this one is set to. You can kind of see it behind that little pop out that's there. You'll see that the first one, the role is the PM role. So someone using the PM role has created their own personal board. And then the other two are mine because I'm the admin person, right? So I can see exactly who's creating personal boards, or at least what role is creating personal boards. So it's kind of neat that I have that ability because I'm an admin person with the save for all roles setting. Now, for someone who has save personal only, you're going to see this kind of change. The top picture doesn't show the button for import and export, so they don't have that, right? In the bottom picture, you can see they only see my personal boards. They cannot look at all of the boards in the database. They cannot look at other people's personal boards. They only get to see their own. So it's a little more restrictive even in the options. Dashpart bases. Each dashpart base allows for different criteria and data and columns. There are 9 different dashpart bases, one of which requires Vantagepoint Intelligence. It is the Vantagepoint Intelligence dashpart. There are a few dashparts that I've gotten some questions over time. What's the difference between project and project detail, or account and account detail? I mean, there's different columns that are available for each. But when you're looking at project and account, it's just the summary. And when you're looking at detail, it includes that transactional information as well. So if you want to think about that. Here's just like, there's 2 screenshots here, but combine the 2 screenshots and you'll see the full list. Project detail, account, employee. That's probably the most restrictive one at the moment. A lot of columns you can't see. You can't use user-defined fields in an employee dashboard. It doesn't allow for that yet. I'm going to say yet. AR detail, favorite report. That's a report that's already been created and saved as a favorite. So that one's kind of neat that you have that ability to basically copy paste a report onto your dashboard. Vantagepoint Intelligence, that one does require that module and then your web URL link. I've seen some clients use this as basically a page on the dashboard. They just make the whole dashboard one part, and it's a link to their URL, their personal. For us, it would be actionassociates.com. Right, so something like that. It's kind of cool. Base dashboards, project-based dashboards. So there's some new columns that they came out with in the 5.0 or 5.5. 2 of those new columns were the weighted percent complete bill and the weighted percent complete cost. Now, what I find interesting about this is it is based on the budget, and Vantagepoint Deltek is moving, from what I understand, it's moving further from budget and closer to plan, but these 2 columns are coming out of the budget. So it's kind of interesting that they came out with those. Now here's a picture of a new project-based dashboard. It's the weighted percent complete. Hillary, I'm pretty sure I stole this from one of your dashboards actually. And you can see there it has the little blue links for weighted percent complete bill and weighted percent complete cost. So it's kind of cool to see some of that data that's already populated in that dashboard. And the most exciting, probably one of the most exciting 5.5 features for dashboards was the drill to. There's 4 different ways you can do a drill to, from table to table, table to chart, chart to chart, and chart to table. I'm probably only going to demonstrate 1 or maybe 2 of these just because they're pretty easy to set up. There is an additional filter option that is available for your drill to dashboards, so we'll look at that as well. Probably one of my favorite methods for the drill to is going from a chart to a table. And that's exactly what you're seeing in this screenshot here. I think this one, it was either estimated fee or weighted fee. You click on it and it opens another dash part that is the table dash part. So I don't have to have both of those parts on my board. And if you look in the upper right-hand, no, upper left-hand corner of the weighted and estimated fee by stage, that graphic, you'll see this three little arrows pointing down. That's your little drill to icon. So that's what tells me, oh, this dash part has a drill to on it. So I can click on either one of those and it populates another part. So it's a little icon that you can kind of see there. Let's do that live demo. I already have my Vantagepoint open. I have it open in multiple views actually. So this is, in this view, I am a project manager that is logged in, but in this one, I am a admin that's logged in. So as an admin person, I can go into my dashboards and it pulls up the my and the personal. My are the ones that are shared to me by admin, and personal are the ones that I've personally created out of my dashboards that are shared to me. But because I'm admin, I really could see everything. So here's my edit mode button. I can see the all dashboards. That's all the dashboards in the database, whether they're shared to me or not, right? So it's kind of think it all the way through. And then my library, I'll have absolutely everything in the library. So I can scroll for just about days. It feels like there's a lot going on in there, right? Now, when I go into the options button that we kind of pointed out earlier, see, I have my view options. All, that's everything in the database. All personal. You can see the title here changes. So these two are mine. That one's another role that's creating dashboards. And then my personal, which it should only show me these two. Right, so I can see the kind of the difference in those three options. Now I do have some favorites that I generally like to share with clients. One is a project contract review. It kind of gives me a view of what's over 75% complete, what's at 75% complete or greater. And then I have some little fields here that tell me if I use my include in fees checkbox, little things that just make life a little bit easier. And I have a lot of explanation on that, which is really kind of cool. I had a client ask for this and it was so much fun to make. It's probably one of my favorites to share with people and use as a training tool. Another one that I like sharing with people is the draft invoice approvals. Now, is there an area in Vantagepoint for this? Yes, absolutely. But it's a little more complex down in that area just because it only shows you the invoices that you submitted into the workflow or the invoices you're responsible for approving. It doesn't show you absolutely everything. So it's one of the reasons I created this little guy. And then I can clearly see who's the project manager, who's the biller, not just who's the approver. So little things like that. See, these are probably my two favorite dash parts. Now my drill to dash parts, I have those on a separate little personal board. You can see there's that little icon that tells me this is being a drill to, right? I sometimes like to have a little comment or a little eye icon here, or a sub header on there that tells me what the drill to is, but I can tell that there's a drill to on here somewhere. It's got to be one or the other, right? So, ooh, I blinked. I'm going to click on estimated fee. Nothing. Let's try weighted fee. See, weighted fee populates that table dash part. So it's going from a graph to a table, right? And you could make this one do a different pop out if you wanted to. I have them side by side. So if I wanted to make this one a drill to a graphic, I could. I would just go into the edit. And you can see this new column. This wasn't here in 5.0, it's new to 5.5. But if I said, well, let's make estimated fee or probability even, we'll do a drill to on it. And then we'll pick our pop out dashboard. Is there one for probability. Or OB. Pursuits by probability. That's a chart. So I'm going from a table here to a chart there. And then I have this extra little feature that I talked about. It's the filter drill to dash part. And if you look at that little eye icon, it kind of explains what it's doing. It allows you to take the filter that's applied to your current dash part or table dash part and apply that same filter to the graphic or the, what is this? This is a chart. Yeah, it tells you right there which one it is. This one's going to be a table. That one's going to be a chart. So we're going from a table to a new chart. We're applying that same filter settings and say apply. Say save. Always make sure it only has one there. Otherwise, you're changing that view for someone else on a different board. So always make sure there's just one. I'm going to hit my back arrow at the top. And this now has my little drill to icon here. And what's neat is if I scroll over, the probability now has a little blue link. So when I click on that 40, it populates another little graphic. So that's from table to chart and from chart to table. Two different ones there. Now, from a project manager's point of view, this role here that I'm logged into on this first URL tab, this one's the setting for it, and I can show you using my special little star. Go to roles. Look at default first. My default role that I'm currently logged into is save for all roles, right? So I don't really have to worry about going to the access rights tab and changing the dash parts. That should be full access because I have save for all roles. I'm an admin person, full access there. But if we look at the project manager role, this one is set to personal only. When you change it from none to personal only, you should get this little message that pops up that tells you, I'll make it happen so you can see what it looks like. So when you change it from none to personal, you'll see this little warning message that pops up, and it basically reminds you to go to the access rights tab and apply dash parts for that role to use. Make sure that those dash parts are already set up for the role to use. So we'll go to access rights, functional area, dash parts, and then we'll add or remove any of those dash parts there. So for this example, I'll do weighted fee, the little drill twos that I showed a moment ago. Boop, boop. So we're just going to give them the 2. Nothing more, nothing less. That's all you get. Those are the only 2 that I've actually set up. So when I log in as a project manager, I'm going to refresh my screen just in case. And I go to dashboards. Number one, I should see the My Dashboard section. That's any of those dashboards that admin has pushed out to me. I haven't shared any dashboards with this role, so nothing's showing up. And then I see my personal section, and I have one saved personal only on there, but it has no parts on it. So I want to make sure I edit that. If you're creating a personal board from scratch, or you're just now starting out with the personal setting, you may do a new board for yourself first, and then you can always rename it to whatever you need it to be, right? Now, I don't have any dash parts, and I can't import export. And if I go into options, I could potentially set a filter for my own personal board if I want to. So if I wanted to filter by project, something like that, I could do that. And that's just helpful for myself. Let's go back to dashboard view, and you'll see that filter going across the top, which is a neat little trick. Admin can also apply filters to any board that they have access to. And you can see I don't have the full list like admin does. I only have the 2 that admin shared to me. I can drag and drop one or both of those. Close my library by re-clicking on that blue link. I like to rearrange mine. So if you have personal dashboard options, you can rearrange you could resize them, you could rearrange them, make it look however you want it to look. They may be the same parts that are on your board that admin shared to you, but at least you get to rearrange it. What's more important to you can go on top, things like that. So you may decide to do that. And then I'm going to save the options here. So saving the board with what I've set. Now, as an admin role, I'm able to edit, but as a save for personal only, I have no edit rights. I can't make any changes to the dash parts that admin's given me. I just get to decide where they live on my board and how big they're going to be, those kinds of things. I can always change the columns or move the columns around by maybe probability is a little more important. So I can scoop probability up if I need to. Right. But that's the only change that I can do. And because this is a grid and grids are personal settings, it should stay like that. So even if I left dashboards altogether, it should still stay like that. And notice now that I'm in edit mode, I don't have the all setting either. I don't have all. I can't edit everything else that's in the database. Now admin can, right? So if I go back to my dashboards here, to edit, it's going to give me the all setting. So lots of little things kind of shift around just a little bit. There goes all. Now for admin, that star, that helps you to navigate even outside of dashboards, just because you have a much larger navigation pane. But for an end user, the star may not be as helpful because your navigation pane is much shorter anyway. But for the dashboards, it may be helpful because I can star my favorite instead of starring the one that admins gave me. So it'll be in my favorites list. May also want to star your timesheet and your expense reports, and probably somewhere in projects that you go to often, and then you can see just those little items. That way you don't get confused between your dashboard and somebody else and the admin's dashboard. So little tricks like that that make it easier. Hillary, were there any questions in the chat?
It would help if I unmuted myself. Yes.
Oh.
What about if a dashboard contains information that the employee doesn't have information to?
So it's going to default to their role security. If they don't have access to that information, let's say cost, for example, if they don't have access to cost, that column's going to be blank for them. They see the column header, but it's not going to show them the information that they don't have access to.
Great, thank you. And do you have recommendations or documentation that would help people in setting up dashboards?
We do provide handouts. If you are a part of one of our training courses, you're more than welcome to request training from me personally if you want that. My contact information will be one of the last slides here today. We also have training. It's more of a group training. So different people from different companies will all come together to really dive deep into dashboards. I do that training as well. And if you want more information on that, lots of different handouts. I try to get something in your hands, personal, when I do a training with you, so you have, how to make one. Number one is important, and have one as a good example that you actually needed. So one that you can take home with you, kind of thing.
That's a great point, Lily. So yeah, there's I think Liz posted the link to the website where there are some training programs. The next Vantagepoint dashboard training program is February 16th, I believe. But if you prefer to be very specific to your individual needs, one-on-one consulting time can be used for that as well. Then there was another question here. Do you have to add the drill down also to the dash part, or if what you chosen has a drill down, will it work in the table?
Can you repeat that? You would have to.
If the
add-
table includes a drill down field, do you have to add this drill down as a separate part, or does the drill down work on its own?
So there are a few drill downs that come standard in dashboards, like company name and project. It's really just a pop out, and when you click open in projects, it's going to take you to the projects hub. So that's one little drill down that automatically works. I don't see a whole lot of drill downs aside from these little pop out kind of info bubble deals. So if you want it to actually be a drill down and it drill into another dash part, then yes, you would have to apply that in the back end of the dash part.
And I think cost has drill downs recently, but I don't know that you have cost on this particular dash part that we're looking at here. But you don't need the drill down should work, yeah.
Yeah, the drill down should work. Wrong one, dashboards. I must have pulled that screenshot from somewhere. I'm just not sure if it's this database or a different one, because we didn't look at the cost. Ooh, new columns. That makes total sense. Of course I prepared for my webinar. Look at that. So here goes your weighted percent complete bill and cost. And these would be little drill downs. But if you notice, this is not set up for drill downs. So you do get that cost information there, and you can update it in here as well.
Perfect, yeah, and you didn't, right, so billing summary is not a separate dash part on the board. It just inherently works for the drill down.
It really depends on the column that you've added. Like budgeted billing is not a drill down column. You would have to create that drill down to another dashboard.
Right. You're right. The job to date information
Mm-hmm.
is the drill downs, not the budgeted. That's a good clarification. Thank you, Lily. I forget that. I think those are all the questions for today so far. Much appreciated.
All right, great. Thank you everyone for joining us. Lily Marie and Hillary, thank you so much for presenting and for answering questions. Lily Marie, if you want to bring up that last slide. Yeah. If you'd like to receive a copy of today's recording, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Liz Sidney. My contact information is in the chat feature for reference, and I will send it to you as soon as it is available. Lily Marie and Hillary will be in touch and following up. At the end of this webinar session, there will be a survey pop-up on your browser window. Please fill that out for us. Your feedback is very important. Again, if you have any immediate questions, please feel free to reach out to Lily Marie or myself. And thank you everyone again for your time and for joining us today.
And if I could just add, I'm better with email than phone calls. So feel free to email me. Phone calls aren't always the best way to contact me. I know it's there, but email.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.